What's up, guys? Welcome to Brush Your Bat for Thursday, July 8th. Shorty but a goodie today, so we'll dive right in. The Yankees minus 135 is a best bet for us. It's a max bet for me, which is like 3.5%. Why the extra half? It makes me feel like I'm putting in the extra hours at the office. This is me. If you're over like 5% for a max bet, come back, hit me up in like 3 years. We'll buy you a cigar or coffee. We'll sit down and talk about how you're now a 3% max bet. Side note, I'm also max betting Max Payne Griffin this weekend. I love him in this spot. I have a really hard time seeing a win condition for Condit. Bought minus 170, minus 175, minus 180. Probably have to buy minus 185. I don't think the line's going to come back. Stacking them like little Pringles chips. But I digress. The Yankees minus 135 over the Mariners. Max bet for me. I love Jordan Montgomery. He's a huge buy guy for me. He's kind of the guy, not Garrett Cole, super max man. Jordan Montgomery is a guy who I kind of expect to carry the torch for us into this next era of Yankees pitching. He might not be our ace, but he's going to be that steady rock, that guy we turn to in the rotation. We need a dub, our stopper. I think he's super mentally tough. He was mentored by CC. He's been through a lot of injury stuff. He's come back. I really like him. He's just run into tons of like terrible BABIP variants, soft stuff, finding holes. I don't know, I'm a huge believer in this kid. I like him in this spot. I think he'll stay steady, just continue to do what he needs to do. Every variance will play itself out. And now the Gilbert kid, now if we were in the late 2000s, 2010s, like early 2010s, mid 2010s, we don't hit Gilbert for shit. He probably blanks us like into the 7th. Maybe we get like one and this isn't a game. But outside of like Hal and Brett Gardner, I think literally everybody in the organization, including the people who clean the shit out of the toilets, are gone. It's a completely different organization, a lot more analytically run, all these other things. We do a lot better job scouting now. It's like a complete night and day thing. Like before we couldn't hit guys we saw for the first time, and now we do a really good job at hitting guys we saw for the first time. But it's a completely different team. Gilbert throws way too many balls like directly over the heart of the plate. We're locked in as a lineup, I think probably a lot in response to Judge kicking everybody's ass, calling the players only meeting. I think the regression train's coming for old Gilby. Your stats just can't look that good when you just chuck the ball literally over the heart of the plate all the time. Like he's got a pretty nice change, I think that he's been working on, and now is working more and more into his arsenal, and I think it's pretty decent. I think people probably just don't have a lot of looks at it. But I think the regression train's going to come and kick you right in the nuts, guy. Good on you so far, but I think tomorrow's going to be rough. Our bullpen looks good. Both do, for that matter. So I don't know. I do understand the under though. Like being realistic, how well we're going to hit the kid. I do think we hit the kid, but I think if the Mariners have any chance, it has to go under. But I don't know. It just scares me. I think we can really, really rake that kid tomorrow. So I love the Yankees, minus 135. My Yankees. I'll have the LeMahieu jersey on. The Astros, minus 155. McCullers over Montas. So like 2 matinee games. I am a Frankie Montas guy, but I do think, even with saying that, being a fan of his, I think the spread is probably right between these two starters. McCullers has the stuff to match up with Oakland, and I think just the way they match up with the opposing lineups, it's a much better matchup for the Astros. Obviously McCullers' stuff is a little too filthy, especially with how the A's are struggling, huh? Like loading the base, like loading, what was it, 3-2 Astros, and then they loaded the bases, top 6 or something, and got 1. Just more of the same from them. A lot of that in the Red Sox series. I don't know, because we were talking about yesterday, like that was our preview for it, right? It was Luis Garcia is ripe for regression, but Oakland's just not going to capitalize, and they didn't. He is asking for it though, so circle him for the future. Luis Garcia is going to get tagged. But yeah, Oakland just continues to struggle, give away runs, scoring ups, games. They're just having a very tough time right now. The only reason the Astros aren't a best bet for me for the sweep is because Presley and Stanek have both pitched the last 2 nights. They've pitched very low, like low output. I think like single digits for like both of them on one of the nights. But pitching guys like 3 nights in a row right before, I mean, we're like 70 whatever games in the season. Why? Just what's the point? Like, why risk that to like your 2 most important bullpen arms for a random game in July? I wouldn't do that. I mean, I'd be even hesitant on how many times you pitch your best guys 3 and 4 days right now in the season, just with how fragile everyone is right now and stuff. And just because it's like bullpen arms, they're freaking irreplaceable. How many good bullpen arms are there? It's like bullpen arms and guys that hit over 300. Just so scarce. So scarce. Those are only 2 sides I'm going to take tomorrow. I'm going to keep it a little thinner because I've definitely been spreading the peanut butter a little thin. But going to sprinkle the Jays, Orioles over 11 at -105. Lean the Jays, but at that price, I have at least a reason or 2 why I don't think I can end up taking that. But at least for the over, the Jays offense is rolling. I think the biggest part, they're having fun. Like, they're competitive out there. Like, you see them like on the top step of the dugout messing around with each other. Vlad Guerrero Jr. doing like pump up curl signs to guys that hit stuff to warning tracks. They're having a good time. Generally, when you have a good time, you perform better. So I think it's probably going to be a rough time for Mr. Aiken, a rough time for the bullpen, just a rough time for anything. I mean, yesterday, it's like the outs they were making were like screaming warning track shots. They're seeing the ball well. But I'm not sure about Manoah's already had 2 C's young. 3rd time seeing an Orioles lineup that I think is like a plus lineup. And a couple things going against him. He's on that spin rate decline list we talked about. And, it does show. So we were talking about the spin rate decline list. If you're new, that's like since they started doing all the checks, a bunch of guys, like obviously the ones that are notable, like Bauer and Garrett Cole and stuff. But the long list of guys whose stuff has really dropped off, like Will Crow the other day. And I actually really like that guy, but he's going to have to figure something out because his breaking ball looks like shit without whatever he was using to grip it. And Manoah is also on that list. He's still been performing, but he's on the list. Threw a career high 109 pitches his last time out. And I think whatever kind of minor league schedule guys had last year, but they've been giving him a ton of extra time off. You see it just increasing. It's like 5 days between starts, normal, and then it starts to increase to 6, 7, 8. That's got to keep me off the Jays ticket. I have respect for this Orioles bullpen lineup. I really do. But I think sprinkling the over, I think both starters get hit. And just with how explosive both lineups are, especially the Jays, it's a big number at 11, -105. I'm going to sprinkle that. I'm also going to sprinkle the over in the Nationals-Padres game. It's at 7. You can get even money, or I grabbed the +105 at stations at a few other places I saw it. Scherzer versus Darvish. I don't know. I would have a very hard time taking an under. I think I took one last week with a Nationals under spot. It was like cooked in like the 3rd inning. Very hard time taking a Nationals. This lineup is seeing the ball so well right now. I don't see why it would just completely putter out versus Darvish. Like just come to a screeching halt. I don't know. Very low total. I think it opened like 6.5. That's crazy to me. Scherzer remains his normal Scherzy self. So much, in fact, it's like this similar trend. He's a stud. He's an absolute stud. The drop off, I think, is going to be very gradual with him. But what's less gradual is that, you really can't expect much past 6. If he gives you past 6, okay, but you can't really expect it. Seeing a lot of 5-inning performances. I think both bullpens are overworked, more opportunities for runs. I just think this number is really short. Sprinkle the over in that spot as well. Lean the Dodgers to not get swept by the Marlins. This is indeed like last year was a very fraudulent year in terms of championships, in my humble opinion. But I do think that the Dodgers are real deal. They're a real deal. And I just don't see, getting swept by the Marlins. Hey, though, feisty Marlins. But yeah, keeping my eyes peeled on Max Griffin. We'll touch on UFC again in like our weekend look forward for tomorrow. That'll be like a longer show. Hope everybody has a wonderful Thursday, is planning some fun stuff for the weekend. And yeah, have a great one. Be kind, everyone.